The cover story in this month's Condé Nast Portfolio magazine features an inside look at the Countrywide VIP loan scandal, how friends of Angelo Mozillo were hooked up with sweetheart loans. One of the Countrywide VIP loan officers who blew the whistle on the lending practices is our special guest this morning. He's Robert Feinberg, former Countrywide account executive, and our guest host this morning is Portfolio's editor-in-chief, Joanne Littman. And Joanne, congratulations to you guys for breaking the story.
Oh, thank you.
Big deal. And Robert, tell me about your conversations with Senator Dodd and exactly how this went down and how he got a cheaper loan than most people could get.
Oh, good morning. My conversations with Senator Dodd were maybe once or twice. It wasn't long conversations because he is a very busy person. But basically, he came through a receptionist for one of the managers, and I was given, what to do with him as for discounts, and I mostly spoke with his wife. Mm-hmm. So most of the work was done with his wife via email and phone calls.
Can you definitively say they knew that they were getting better terms than they would have gotten otherwise?
Absolutely.
No doubt in your mind?
No doubt in my mind. When anyone entered on a phone call into the VIP unit, it wasn't just your job to provide them with discounts. It was your job to get the loan. So you did explain where they were and how they were being treated. And also that, there was a lot of taglines that we used, that the pricing was specially priced by Angelo and you're getting a better rate than a regular customer would get. We did disclose what fees were being waived. And this stuff is also disclosed in the paperwork when it arrives in the mail.
And Bob, you had a number of emails as well, right, that came via Angelo that talked about this, that would say, bring it to me for the pricing and that sort of thing. Is that right?
Yes, many emails. During that period of time, it was a big boom for refinances, purchases, so we were extremely busy with emails, phone calls, messages, however which way it traveled in. It came many different ways, but a lot of communication directly with the CEO, with Mr. Mozillo, by phone and by email on a consistent basis.
And you had a number of people in the story. We mentioned that you had something like $400 million worth of loans that you processed, and many of them were for people such as a judge who was hearing a Countrywide case. Congressional staffers were mentioned here, and you had email correspondence in which it said these people are important to Countrywide, that sort of thing. Is that generally how some of these emails came in and some of these loan requests came in?
Very correct, yes. That was an example of one year that was represented in Portfolio magazine. And I did the VIP loans for 4 years, approximately, about 4.5 years. And that was just a number for production of one person, because there were other people that did VIP loans. But I was the main person that did most of them for Mr. Mozillo.
And you had some others that were including the Postmaster General John Potter, Clinton staffer Paul Begala, Henry Cisneros, who was a Countrywide director, the CEO of Sprint, the CEO of KB Homes, both of which had business dealings also. And I know Countrywide and KB Home are being sued now by some of the homeowners.
Yes, that's correct.
How much did Senator Dodd save?
The savings that we calculate mainly was going to be over the life of the loan, which is really what you want to look at. You can look at a monthly savings, but over the life of the loan on one of his particular loans, it was about, I think it was calculated at $77,000 if the loan was kept for a 30-year period of time.
And fees?
Fees, roughly, you have the points plus the costs, the document preparation fees, the processing fees, underwriting fees, what we call the junk fees in the business, or the garbage fees, were waived. So probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, $1,000 or $2,000. It depended on the loan balance.
Mr. Feinberg, do you stand to gain in any way by coming out publicly? Are you suing the company? Do you have any financial incentive to talk?
Not to sue the company, no. I don't. I'm not in a position to do that. I'm just coming out to talk because I feel there's a need for this information to be brought out because of the situation that we're in right now.
You know, also one of the things that was interesting that you mentioned was that we have an email in which, in this case of the judge, where you sent a note back to Angelo saying he doesn't meet the criteria.
Correct.
So what was going on there? Were these people pre-approved, or some of these people did not have to show you the assets that other borrowers would need to show?
That's correct, but it's a case-by-case basis. Everybody was different, so it depended on their level of importance, based on if it was a friend of Angelo's, which we called them, they were called FOAs, and most of them did not fall into the guidelines of Countrywide.
So they were getting loans that they might not otherwise qualify for.
Well, I mean, remember at the time, you didn't have to prove your income, generally speaking,
but these
right?
People, my understanding is they didn't have to fill out some of the paperwork that a typical borrower would have to fill out.
Yes, there were those occasions. I took applications and then I would send them to a VIP processing unit for them to collect the paperwork that was associated with that application. If somebody did not feel like they wanted to provide me a full application, I did not question that VIP. So you took as much as you could get and you worked with it the best you could. And if they were outside of the guidelines and it needed what we call an exception, for the most part, we would go back to Mr. Mazzillo for that exception. And that note that you're referring to about Judge Aldridge, one part of his loan was severely outside of what we allowed at that time.
Wow, even at that time?
At that time, yes.
And he was hearing a Countrywide case at the time.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah, that I wasn't aware of until I found that out later. So I was not aware of what they were doing outside of country. I was just writing a lot of loans.
Mr. Feinberg, thanks so much for getting up early. We see you live there from Los Angeles. It's still dark out.
Thank you for having me.
And Joanne, you'll be with us for the rest of the hour. Great story that you've uncovered.
Thank you.